Hello again, and welcome to the Grants. Keeping up with the Kardashians. The Grants. Um, now for hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas, and Alexis here. We're gonna be providing you guys with some more entertainment to tickle your funny bones and to get those knees a slapping. So today what we're gonna be doing is going over. I probably should. Today what we're gonna be doing is going over just an article. This article is pretty old. It was back in 2017.
It's not that old.
Oh yeah, well, but it's about HBCUs, and the article is titled 5 Reasons Black Students Should Not Apply to HBCUs. Right? So if you guys didn't know, myself and Alexis over here, we both went to HBCUs for our undergrad. Alexis, where did you go?
HU Howard University.
We didn't need that. And I went to Tuskegee University, clearly a smarter and better school. All right.
Sorry, wait, what?
Nothing. All right. So
Anyways, this article's dumb, but break down why.
Yeah. So breaking down why. So what we're gonna do is just look at some of it, and we're gonna basically tell you why you should go to an HBCU because they are the best. Right. So the first one was diversity. So it's saying you shouldn't go to an HBCU because
it's less diverse.
Yeah, it's not as diverse as other schools could be.
And they say that if people attend an HBCU, they'll continue to not understand or experience diversity settings, and this can weaken their chances when they apply for jobs, which are an increasingly diverse environment. You know what else can change your likelihood of getting a job?
What's that?
Being black.
Oh, yeah, that does have a pretty big influence on it. Doesn't matter where you went to college.
It does not matter.
Yeah, you don't stop being black.
And also, I think that argument is bogus. Going to Howard was the first time. I mean, I grew up in a town in Massachusetts outside of Boston, and I didn't know that many people not from Massachusetts, and Howard had people from all over the world. So yeah, I consider that pretty diverse.
Yeah, I would say the same about Tuskegee. We have people. So Tuskegee is in Alabama, but we have people from New York, far as north as New York, all the way over to the West Coast, California, and everywhere in between. I met a bunch of people from all those different places. And so I think the diversity they're talking about, though, is more so white, and you're not going to be meeting white people or other people besides black people.
Yeah, so basically the whole premise of this point is that diversity is only in regards to race and nothing else.
Yeah, so and
which is wrong.
Yeah. The point they're trying to make is you won't get a chance to see white people and interact with white people.
That's fine. I have the rest of my life.
Truth. You have the rest of your life for that. But you also, I think my biggest thing is when I first went to Tuskegee, I grew up in an all-black community from elementary to high school. Then I decided to go to an all-black college. And my initial thoughts would be, oh, black people are black people. But that's not the case. Black people are people. Mm-hmm. So all people are different in different ways. Yes, you do need to learn how to interact with people of different races, but I feel I became more open-minded to people from going to Tuskegee.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I don't know. Yeah, I think there's this conceptualization in society that black people all like the same thing or are interested in the same thing or the same kind of music or movies or whatever. And going to Howard, I was worried that I wouldn't fit in because I'm not from an all black community. There's not a lot of black people in Framingham, Massachusetts, comparatively to any big city. So yeah, so I was worried that I wouldn't feel that I would feel like an outsider, but I got there and I was oh, there's nerds here too, cool. And other black people who like writing poetry and like history books and like anime and learning random languages like Japanese, like all that stuff was at Howard. So I think it was, if anything, it made me see even more diversity, rather than like the opposite, like this person saying in the article. And, like another thing it says is that attending an HBCU would enable students to become accustomed to living on campus with one race and limiting their exposure to reality.
Have they been to PWI?
Case closed.
Like okay, you only see one race, but if you go to like a bigger school, say let's take Harvard for example, like yes, you have like black people who go there, but then it's a small community. So now you're like trying to, not necessarily everyone, but I would feel like you would lose your identity more so going to those schools because now you're not. I mean, you have to embrace your race and like the different aspects of your culture. And I feel like going to an HBCU, you really get to see all the different aspects of your culture and understand that it's not just this what they paint for you on TV or what they paint on TV.
Yeah, and you can like really be yourself. Because I feel like especially when you're in like most majority white spaces, it's like you're performing. Or like you can't do this because like you don't want to be the black person that like says this thing or does this thing that like reflects on like everyone else, because there are white people who like you're the only black person they know. It's a little generalized based on like, what you say or do, and so like that's exhausting. So I think taking like 4 years out of your life to not be in that setting is like healing.
You get to discover yourself.
Yeah.
All right, so next up is the majority. Well, you go.
So basically, they're saying like, for it's gonna be like traumatic for students to like not go to come from an HBCU into the real world, because at an HBCU you're part of a majority, and in the real world you're not, and you'll be shocked by the treatment you'll get. Because
I mean, it's stupid. Like it's a non-starter. Like first off, we have TV on our campuses. Friends still there.
We still know white people.
We still know that white people are the quote-unquote majority out there, and we know what the real world is. We're constantly reminded of why we have to be better and why we have to work harder at our schools, because like you know what's out there. You know that you're not going to get as many opportunities. You know you're not going to you're going to be passed over, looked over, be racially profiled, or just profiled in general. And I feel like you know all of that, and you work so much harder. And the other thing is like everyone builds each other up. Like you know that the person next to you is going to have like the same amount of difficulty, the same like pressures on society. I don't know. And it's just like you want to build that person up. You want to help them. Like I remember back at Tuskegee, we like would clown people. We would make fun of people for not going to class. We'll make fun of people for like failing classes. Well, not make fun of them. We helped each other pass classes. That's what we did. But yeah, like you will always not only be striving for the best for yourself, but striving for the best in other people in your community. And I feel like that's something that you really should carry outside of your college experience, going back to the Black community and helping people grow and prosper.
Yeah, and it's like a different sense of camaraderie. I think if you went to a PWI, like, I don't know, and like anywhere I've been where like white people are the majority, or like you've probably seen this, like whatever color or race you are, like the people group together according to like those they're comfortable with. And so like even in like majority white spaces, like all the Black kids will like join together and like help each other out, and like that's not by choice necessarily, but it's because like that kind of support you can't get it from everyone. And like being surrounded in that environment as at a college is like a unique experience, I think.
Yeah. And I think that kind of rolls into their next point, not our next
Yeah.
point. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, also, like the whole like idea that like students will be shocked once they graduate and go into the real world. Like college campuses are in the real world.
Mhm.
Like Howard was in DC, and like I didn't spend my whole time off campus. Like I don't know if you did stuff around.
Tuskegee is in the middle of nowhere, Alabama. So
you should go.
And what happened in Tuskegee stayed in Tuskegee, and Tuskegee was its own world.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Maybe not a sweeping generalization.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's to say, like, when you go to college, like, you're still in tune with the real world. So
Yeah.
that point's done. Next.
So the next point is you'll only be exposed to Black culture. We talked about this a little bit in our first point when we were talking about diversity.
Yeah, like, what is Black culture?
Like, you understand that we understand like certain aspects of Black culture, but when it comes down to it, like Black culture is so unique and diverse in so many different ways. Like before, like I used to be ashamed to watch anime and like superheroes, and then I went to Tuskegee.
Nerd.
I went to Tuskegee, and bronchitis. And I found friends that were into the same things as me, and like had the same interests. Like I feel like this person is thinking of Black culture as the stereotype. All Black people act the same. Like Alexis is going to be a loud Black woman. I'm going to be a scary Black man. And I feel like that's not the case. Like people are different. Black people are people.
Yeah. Yeah. And like this article says, if students attended a college or university that enforces diversity, they'll have comments and questions from other races and ethnicities. I don't want comments and questions
And it's saying
from white people.
Yeah.
Like it's exhausting and it's tiring, and you always get it in the real world. Like, and like I didn't understand this until like, you know, going through the experience and like looking back, and now like you're in the real world and you can't escape it. And like, yeah, and like I don't really have questions for like white people culture, because like that's literally all we learn. So like I don't have any questions about that. And yeah, I don't know what else there is to say about that. But it's just kind of like this assumption that like you're missing something if you can't have conversations with people from other races. And it's like, yeah, if you're white, I think that's true. But I think if you're a person of color, like you're bombarded by what is the majority constantly. So to like have a space where that isn't happening was like good.
So it's saying if these students attended a college or university that enforces diversity, there's so many different things wrong with that. It's like enforcing diversity, like that's saying that school is like making sure they meet their quotas of brown,
schools
Black.
Actually do that.
I know.
Like Harvard does that.
I know.
Or did that. I think they got sued. So maybe they don't do it anymore.
But they have quotas to meet, and like, do you really want to be a number, just another number at a school, or do you want to be like your own person and learn to be yourself?
So like this last part, it says some HBCU students might question if receiving their high education in a diverse college or university will have changed their college experience. Also, upon graduation, they realize their friend circle is all African Americans, and this limits students to learning different cultures. They've also missed out on an opportunity to expose students of other races to their own viewpoints and experiences.
I think that last sentence is the only part I would agree. Like, you don't. It's
not our responsibility to expose other people to our race.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
Yeah, that's like good, but like the people that want to expose people from other races to their culture, like there are lots of books out there, like books, music, like those are the people that are putting stuff out. Like it's not the responsibility of just like an 18-year-old trying to go to college to expose whoever.
Troy. It's probably
Becky. Karen.
Clint.
Yeah, like it's not our responsibility to expose like other students to like our race.
Yeah.
Like if students want to be exposed to people from different races, like you need to go to the places of like where that would be. Like there were white students at Howard. I don't know if her name is speaking.
Yeah.
Like there were some non-African American students there, and like Howard to you.
Yeah, it was some in our vet med program because we have one of the best programs in the country.
Yeah, and like I don't think it's a limitation that like all your friends are African American.
Yeah.
Like all my friends, like almost everyone I knew from high school was white. Like, and no one talks about how that can be like detrimental to your like network.
Yeah, just think. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no one talks about how that could be detrimental to your network or like your exposure to culture or learning about culture. And like at the end of the day, it's like you're an adult. Like if you want to learn about culture, go learn about culture.
Yeah, and if it's really about like networking, you only have Black friends, so those are the only people you can talk to. Like I have people who I went to school with who are doctors. I know people who are lawyers. I know people who are engineers. Like it runs the gambit of different jobs. And like if I needed to network, I know I can reach back and reach out and touch just about any one of those people. And the fact that we went to HBCU together, and they know, even if we never met, they understand where you're coming from a certain perspective. From that perspective, they look out for you.
Yeah, I would say there's like a lot of pride in like attending like an HBCU, and then like your specific HBCU. Like if you say like, oh, I went to Howard, and then someone else went to Howard, and you're like, oh, I'm looking for a job in this field, they'll like find a way to hook you up and like get you in contact. And like they really drilled, like Howard really emphasized like networking as like a practice. And like I think part of that's like preparing us for the real world. Like you need to know people. Like in the society, like you just need to know people to get a job. Like somewhere that's different. So I think like it prepared me well for the world.
So I think another aspect of it is school pride. Like just going to an HBCU, excuse me, and having so much school pride, like Alexis was mentioning earlier. Like here's an experiment. Ask like just a random white person what school they went to and how much school, and you'll see how much school pride they have, as opposed to a Black person who went to an HBCU. Like they get hyped. Get extremely hyped. That's how I met her. Like we were on a dating app and it said Howard, and I was like, yes. I was like, HBCU, yes. And then we just started talking crap to each other because like I have so much pride in my school, she has so much pride in her school, but at the same time we know both of our schools are amazing, both of them have this certain culture, and like different HBCUs connect over that, just that aspect of it, just being an HBCU. So I feel like going to an HBCU is like a life-changing event. I got to learn so much about myself. I got to learn so much about my people. And I had the opportunity to learn just about not only how the real world works, like out in the open, but also like how you will succeed and benefit and prosper in that world, given these tools. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't have any.
I was trying
That's
I was trying to be inspirational. I don't think I hit it. Yeah.
I don't have anything to add. Yeah, like I would do it over again. And I remember it's like so dumb for me to like look back on it, thinking of like how I was like nervous about going and like not liking it and just feeling like homesick and yeah, I mean you live up here now. Like imagine growing up here. And then, yeah. Anyways, so it's like funny to think back of like how worried I was, and then just like how how much of like an experience it was, because I think I would have gotten lost somewhere else.
Mhm.
So that was like really meaningful, and I think like even in my life now, like I think tokenism is real.
Mm.
And
Very.
and like I mean, since I've graduated, or even in places like during undergrad that were not on campus, like experiencing tokenism is just like exhausting and frustrating, and there's not really anything you can do about it. And so like having a place where like that doesn't happen for 4 years, and like it will keep happening for the rest of my life. I think to have those 4 years to just be myself unapologetically, and have people like see you and affirm you, just for like being yourself and not having to perform or like do anything. I think that's a really powerful experience, and I think it made me grow a lot more than like I would have anywhere else. So, any last words about HBCUs?
You go first.
That was my last word.
What was your last one?
Yeah.
Um,
Go Howard. That was lame.
that's weird.
It was lame.
Because she went to Howard.
Stop.
No, my last words. I feel
Do it. It's not too late. Wait, if we put this video out,
That's
when are
fine.
the applications closed?
You said my last words, and then you just hopped in and did my last words. The Tuskegee.
No.